Right, yeah, I said, well, look up school. Oh, wait, my school board time was 30 years ago, or I'll number two times. But even on after I hold it, we wouldn't get on that. No, I was on the route there about starting years before. I was on Steve Green and, yeah, years before. Linda McClellan, yeah, Linda McClellan. He, on my second term, he's still on it. He's not, if you went off, you're gonna see him. Yeah, that's right. But she's on there a long time. Let her. And, yeah. And go around 8 years, then went on 8, then went back home. I button made it pretty easy. He's like, who's super good with Butler? Yeah, for a while when I was. But he retired. I think after the first year. And when we hired somebody else, I can't think of that guy's name. Weaver? Weaver, yeah. Tim Weaver. Yeah, Tim Weaver.
Shall I tell you about a break coming in?
Yes, we're here to.
First week in November.
Everything for Christmas present.
Yes, with my last pregnancy, her due date was actually Christmas, and she was born 5 days early, so. I had a real Christmas present. Yeah.
What's the plan?
Be right in time for a lot of that good Thanksgiving food.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be nursing, so I'll be very hungry.
This will be your second?
This is my fourth.
Fourth. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I stepped back from that. Yep.
Saturday. This Saturday? Yep. Morning. Saturday, yeah. Over there. Actually, it's Celsey Community Club. Yeah. We're not gonna make right there. 11, 12, and 1 3. Wedding 11, lunch 12, dance 1 3. Live band. Congratulations hamburger while you're there. Let's have a real meal.
Yeah, so they're.
Yeah, there is. That's good. We're gonna have fried chicken, green beans, baked potatoes, law.
Sounds really good. For my wedding,
Okay.
I had Ron Smith cater it, and it was so good.
Let's see it right there. Never. The constant that was, yeah, he did. All three of them. $11.
Yeah.
You all sit in hamburger order for the grill this year? I can put this in. What grill? That Barnum? Oh, we don't have on there for 4 weeks. Wow.
Salem doesn't have a home game this week, but they do next week.
What we do know. Yeah, anybody can do it. Oh, each person. We got that.
I don't think so, still not today. Not today. We might want to wait until after the night, Saturday.
Which one we're moving to now?
Then we say the annual discussion first. So that's the approximate.
What time?
Michelle has 2:30. For Brett, 2:30 for Brett. Okay, let's go. We will reconvene. Let's go to page 36, planning commission. So there were, on page 36, there were requests for increases for salaries as well as the planning commission attorney, and general expenses remain the same. The next budget on page 37, there was the removal of the assistant building commissioner. Other than that, all the other line items stay the same. So without any questions on those, we can move to the next one. Okay. Superior Court, page 38. A removal of a staff member. Dustin has, he's notorious for running a lean operation and feel like he'd be able to do that. So, run over on page 38. Yes.
Then maybe 8 more. Proper attorney's fees in the year.
Yes, and the rest of, let's see, of the proper fees, attorney witness fees, he said there was, $10,000 to $11,000 spent so far. Yeah, like you said, $80,000 left over. Yeah, he marked out equipment, so we don't have equipment on there anymore, and then he combined line items for general expenses and the trial. Any questions on this budget?
No.
Perfect. He did mark out equipment, yeah. That was for their AV upgrade, which they wanted to do last year, Judge Newkirk and Judge Russell. And that project has been completed. Okay, page 39, circuit court.
He didn't went in the secretary, but he added the fourth.
Yeah, we did that last year for him. Mhm. At that time, it was right. At that time, we adjusted that position
That's the other one.
because of the other one. And now that other position within Judge Townsend's office is no longer there. So, lesson learned. Okay, I do not see any other line item increases. I do see a decrease on recording equipment because they no longer needed that 40,000 for the AV upgrade. Any questions on this budget?
No.
Okay. All right, we'll move to probation. Yes. Which one?
On the judge
Yes.
court. Are you guys still comfortable with these $15,000 books?
Good question.
Nope. The only thing that he's saying is that sometimes Judge Alton goes over and log it. But, they can go online just like Judge Alton does. And find it,
Judge Atkins said, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's a big go online. Yeah, so I don't know why. Judge Medlock said,
He said it yesterday. Yeah, he was.
did they actually cost 15,000?
That was my other question, but if you
I don't know if
know,
they spent, they.
what did it, yeah, what did they spend so far? Do you all want to ask for additional documentation for that line item, or are you comfortable with it remaining at 15,000?
It's gonna be one of those situations where he's gonna say that he can handle it. Yeah. Probably. So this, we have, oh, we went through that. Yeah. Stuff before. Those things that way. That wasn't great. Well, the top line number is 5,000, used to be 4,500. That's another discussion. That's gonna be another discussion. When we start talking about salaries. Okay. Yes. Great.
Okay, so we're comfortable leaving the law, that's the way they are.
I don't think we have a choice.
Okay, page 40, probation. Again, all these salaries are set by the state, so there is nothing that we can do on these. Page 41, this is grant funded. Any issues with this budget? It's the same as last year. Okay, page 42, fee funded, requesting $5,000. Michelle, there was enough in there for that? Yeah. All right, page 43, they're requesting raises and the only other increases on there are related to salaries. Everything else remains the same. Okay, page 44, this is student observation. Any issues with that one? Okay. Page 45, budget remains the same. Any questions on this one? Urine screen, page 46, all remain the same. Any questions? 47, Veterans Court, A&D Veterans Court, the grant amount remains the same. Page 48, contracted services for alcohol and drug program remains the same as last year. Day reporting on page 49. Any issues with this one, Michelle? $2,000, it's a fee fund.
Think very good.
Yeah. Page 50, the POC grant for Veterans Court, she did say there was, I think there's a reduction in the grant, so it's $15,000 this year as opposed to the $25,000 last year. Any questions on this?
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to public defender. See, longevity was, reduced. Office supplies was increased, but that was by collapsing a couple other line items and move that up to the office supplies. Any questions on this budget? They did that for salary increases. Other than that, there was a reduction in office supplies and other things that were moved to reduction longevity and then other line items that were collapsed into office supplies.
Is that state, is state set at 178? Yep. Is that the amount the state set for? Yep. It is that much?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Behind our budget, the supplemental, there is the fee schedule for prosecutor, public defender.
Well, it's all that. Sorry.
That's like a prosecutor. The state gave generous raises, all of this.
Any questions on this one? From public defender? Okay, next would be the grant for the system navigator. Nothing has changed in the budget. And it does remain the same with a total of $70,800. Any questions on our System Navigator grant? No, I will say, for Ryan coming in and this being his first budget session, official, but I think this is kind of his first one. I'm happy that he did ask for a budget thing. That's the same thing for over the last few years. Okay. Yes. Okay, item 1, page 53. Typically when we're talking about salaries, we were talking about this being done kind of as a collective conversation, one big conversation, but I do think this probably is warranting a conversation about this position in particular, where Desi plans to retire by the end of the year, and her position will be separated into 2 positions.
But the commissioner,
You are the,
That was not right. It's up to you.
well, no, I'm saying, but you do that.
what is the recommendation by the commissioner? Is it what she says?
All we heard about the other day, we bring us, talk to us. That's him come in, talk to us here a couple of weeks ago. But this is retired. I don't know what the game would be. I don't know how. It's not gonna be an easy job, so.
Well, with that being said, perhaps it's maybe a better conversation to be looked at collectively when we're looking at, are we okay with adding positions or not?
Is there a way that you guys are leaning? Are you leaning more towards leading in one job or separating it out?
I don't think one person can fill those shoes right now. That's my opinion. I mean, Nancy grew up with the problems as they went. That's been her advantage. To find somebody to do this, it's gonna be hard to do. That's my thinking. I don't know.
Don't know.
I know Desi saw the coordinate, 911 on addressing. For Desi got it before. But I don't ever saw Desi, she's tremendous. And like I said, it's gonna be hard. But what's gonna be the county's game to do this? That's the position we have to have.
It's submitted any paperwork for resignation. You know, when she's doing,
Oh, she's definitely.
and that would be my question.
Yeah.
Is it January one? December 31st.
Is there anybody making attempts to train people and fill that? Is there anybody there close that is it could work on the training effort? I don't know that. Wish that's why. Okay. If anybody goes in here.
Now, she just told us a couple weeks ago, this was gonna happen.
But he said, get it at the court, yeah. Really respect. Take over. She's done a lot of things. Like her little bit.
It's still like,
Okay, well, we will revisit this when we talk about overall. Okay, next would be, Michelle, for the dues and subscription, there's an increase there, which was the NetCloud subscription. And then for First CAD Net, so that was, the Cradle Point, for the vehicles. If you could, and I think she was going to be sending us information on that. She did go through all the staff, and one note I have on here is the department conducting exit interviews to understand what the true issue is of using and having, turnover. Okay, page 54. Budget remains the same. Any questions on this one? Page 55. Okay, Michelle, I have a note on here that they said that we had enough of this amount of our salary. I can't remember why.
For sick leave, we also have, for funds to offset if needed.
Any questions on this one? All right, with that, we'll move on to cemetery. If you'll recall, during the year, perhaps earlier this year, we raised the contract for the mowing to $46,500. And aside from that, there is no cumulative change in the cemetery budget. Any questions on that? All right, next, soil and water, page 57. Okay, there is an anticipated $15,000 shortfall due to, they expected it only for 1 year due to budget. Maybe for grant.
Number 56.
57. They also, in addition to what we have on here, they're also requesting $10,000 for cost sharing for a 10-foot John Deere no-till grass drill. The total cost is $60,500, and they expect to get $50,000 from the state, from Clean Water. Questions on this one?
I meant to ask him when he was here, how they plan on routing that out. The first come, first served, if somebody's about to use it so much. How that's going to work. You know, it used to be, I think, well, $15 an acre.
And yes, probably done first.
Okay, I didn't know, I was just wondering how the fair way to do that. That's the
Yep.
thing about it is, I'm not going to address the money aspect of your job. But I will tell you, I've been pretty vocal since my brother-in-law has been on the board for 3 years. I explained to him, I said, why in the world don't we have it? We're the only SWCD place in the surrounding county that doesn't have it. Well, they just didn't want to spend money to do it. But there's been some people complaining because Jackson County, I think they had 2 books. I know Scott County got 2. And there is a need. I mean, it'll get used a lot for pasture receiving and new pastures and things. And I'll not say for myself, just speaking for myself, it's a major inconvenience for me when I have to go get one at Jackson County or Scott County because, you get to go down the road very, very fast with them and they take up a lot of space. But it will definitely get used. I'm not saying whether you should do it or not, but I'm just saying there's a need for it.
Any comments from the council?
So most farmers don't have their own drill.
Not a drill like this.
I think it's money well spent. I think the return is gonna be. But
Is it, a lot of that to do with like these waterways and that? Yeah, a lot of it will be waterways, like cautionary waterways, which we still have to pay really, even though it's cautionary. The federal government, along with the states, the last, especially 5 or 6 years, are real big on clean water. And it does make a difference when you've got a waterway that's designed right, versus one that's not, as far as the end result of what's going in creeks and streams, you know, whether it's clean water, or muddy water, there's big differences in how the ditches and waterways are designed. The government's all behind it. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. We spend our money on a lot worse things, that's for sure.
Any other questions? The general consensus of the 15,000 and the 10,000.
I feel like we're stuck. Especially when it comes to 15,000, because they're not gonna have anybody to pay that person in their blood. So. And this is not a job that originally told them, I'm sure, that every federal government has ever up to this point indicated they were going to stop it.
Everyone else agree? Okay, then on the cost share for the drill,
I just think it's stop. I've noticed that it's needed, but I just think it's stop and looking at maybe hiring people or giving salaries or raises on the salaries. And I was saying that, they do a fantastic job. I mean, I noticed they think that I just had several questions about it. One of them was who's going to get to use it and how and all that. Anybody can use it, they don't need everybody else can.
so it sounds like the 15,000 we're pretty much in consensus about. The 10,000, that's what we want to raise. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's go to highway. Page 58, any questions about this one? Fund, similar bridge fund. Okay. All right, page 59. Questions on this one? This one's remained the same for the last 2 years. All right, let's go to page 60. There's a salary increase on here, an increase in stone. Account, 2 line items were combined. Any questions on this one? I think the majority of the difference comes from salary. Any questions on MVH? On 61. Any questions on this one? All right, 62. The only notable increase I have is on garage and building, and it was from, it has previously been 40. Last year it was reduced down to 16, and then they're asking for 30,000 for potentially new furniture and things from the new facility. Any question on this one? Voted unanimous. Page 63. We're gonna start.
Okay. Let's start out. We've, on the 850,000 that we give them, we said 294 this time. How that, 850.
Yes.
So, got another 6 months, so that'd be another 300 maybe. We're looking at 600,000. I'm thinking maybe we could lower the 850 down to 600.
I was thinking seven.
Uh,
I was thinking seven. Pushing.
I'll say 650. Everybody, I'll three quarter else it does. That's my recommendation. 650, 700,000. 650 people like it.
Other council members?
I think it's hard to do anything with this until we figure out hospital transfers. That be takes place at 4:30. See what comes there. I think hard to do, I can do what I can do until that. Well,
Were they expected to give you guys numbers today?
I think the board's all over the place on what they originally think.
The board is or their board?
Or,
Or board or
I
their board?
I have different opinions than my top hats.
Okay.
Well, it's just, yeah. Whenever we talk about whatever we come back at, that's. Yeah. Okay, well, I wasn't aware of it. I'm talking about after we denied their counter, they come back with another counter offer. That's what I'm saying. That's my vote, is the vote, we're all on the same page.
We all agree with what
The initial offer was, yes.
we said we were on different page.
Well, I think not for that.
The outcome?
The outcome of what's going to happen. But nobody's going to know until after the meeting.
The reason I asked that is because I didn't know if you guys were going to, if there was a 80% chance you'd come to an agreement today, or is it a 30% chance and then we're already into September and we got to approve this budget?
Right, it won't.
Okay. That's the only thing, that's the only-
My recommendation on the whole thing was to pull our offer entirely, just say forget it, was my recommendation. Because I said, even if we accept it and everything goes perfect, we're just almost at break even.
We gave them what we felt like was a fair offer.
And it was.
We were making a little bit of, well, just a little bit of money. I'm talking less than $100,000. Not much more than break even. But, what they came back with was
I didn't so.
an insult because it wasn't so much we weren't that far apart on what we were asking, but they wanted to incur all these fines and penalties if we don't show up at a certain time. Like within, what was it, 30 minutes of a call? What, you tell me.
They don't do that to Stevens.
Well, exactly. One thing I'm working to.
That's why.
I'm just gonna say that straight up. They don't do that to Stevens. So you're regretting now that your initial one wasn't much higher than Brady?
We're probably not gonna take it because of the penalty. One of them was $3,500, up to $3,500 a month. And
They should be grateful they're even getting somebody to do it.
so we're just, it was just hospital. Slap in the face. And
They want us to open.
so, to answer your question, there's probably 90. I'm good with agree.
So let's So for the sake of knowing, the subsidy is, I think, the big elephant in the room, like the question that needs to be decided on for the council. So state information remains the same as what we've been given today from the EMS department. And looking at numbers and everything else. What are we comfortable going down to that's not going to create an issue where we have to do a bunch of additional appropriations? Karen and President said 650 to 700,000.
That's a,
I'm
Seven.
Whatever, they do there.
I'm happy with it.
find out, Bella, you both are on the board.
Well, right now, the fund has negative $62,000. I don't, said.
Did he say he had some months that was gonna hopefully show some?
Yeah, their ALS and ELS rates.
The fees are going up.
But it could be 3 to 6 months before you see that.
I was gonna say, we had the exact same conversation last year before the rates went up, where the ambulance director or the EMS director had said, well, come this point in time, we'll have the deposits from these bills and that number. It didn't really work out the way that
They didn't raise it at the time. They said it was going.
There's several. Where we don't put it.
And you've only used half. Not even 300,000 of the 800 already.
That's at the end of July, it was
So
200,000.
we're over halfway through the year and you still not used half of it. So that's why I'm like, I don't know that you're gonna need all 800,000. You have to use half.
Yeah, I did get the sense that Tony and Mike both are looking at these numbers critically, and I appreciate that. And I still don't think it's sustainable for us to be putting $850,000 every year into this EMS department. So I would like to see a reduction. Michelle, Kyra, you guys see these numbers and the withdrawals and deposits every month. Do you have a range that seems to make sense?
We've got this.
We'll say that. And, you know,
Even.
Four of us.
we stop, there is no need of it.
No crystal ball, but
Well, I would like to set the precedent that it is what it is. And make it- So do we need to further, cuts that need to be made in this budget if our allocation? for that? Okay. 2, 3, 4. You come from 7. All right, so above that Rondell. We're looking at 7. All right, anything else? On this one, we were going to move, we were going to close the training fund, we're looking to close the training fund from September. And use that money into the budget. Yeah. And then, we were going to take, so there's $25,000 on the budget for a truck purchase. We are going to take 3,000 from that, and put it into collections. And then we are also going to take 10,500 out of that remaining 22,000 and put it into a line item called professional development. It also needs to be noted that there was a position added. So when we go to talk about, yeah, this needs to be part of the whole conversation of whether we add staff or not add staff. There was a folder position that was added to the EMT line.
That is included in the 10220 line.
And the same thing in regards to salary discussion with the on-call, the increase in the on-call. What would disappear?
Lower, if we raise it.
No, they are, as in this line item, the EMT, they are including an additional person that would be a floater. So this budget is a little different than some of the others where they have each individual staff written down. This one just has, all of the money assigned to those specific levels of EMT, paramedics, etc. So they had an additional positions added in. The on-call, which is 10701, with they increased it to 36,300, assuming it would go from $3.15 an hour to $5. Sounds like that number is off in place, but based on our conversations, I think it's probably coming out somewhere else. So the on-call will be part of the larger salary discussion, and then the floater position will be part of the discussion of whether we add any new stuff.
I'm understanding you saying you're thinking they're gonna add a person.
That's what they
The way I understood it, they're gonna use the person who's not on schedule at that shift to be on call. Am I right?
They said they added an additional floater position under the EMT line item.
Have 5 people there, so trucks.
Go down, that's big, right?
You know,
That's what I got.
that's what I said then. Because that's where it was asked, what line item, and it came out 10220.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I asked him what line item.
Yeah, because we were.
So we're saying they have 5 people there instead of 4. There's no trucks.
We were talking about a partial approval, but instead they just put one person in floater at that line item, which is right.
That one person that was added was taken away from one of the others.
Well, yeah.
So if you combine those 3, EMT line, 10-220, 10-218, and 272. 23 budget, 55-67 was proposed for the 24 budget, that 3, it's 548.7.
Yes, and they've also increased the overtime vacation comp numbers. You know, so they pulled some of that to go into vacation and comp, just like they pulled from holiday pay to go into that line item, and they pulled from part-time.
What is advancement?
Yes, sir.
1219, is that training?
Oh, okay.
That came about.
Oh, that's the advanced CMT?
I'm assuming so, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, because it was coded like it was a payroll account number. Okay, so I know who that is then, okay.
I think it's only one person.
It's only one person, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it was only one person at one time, I don't know if that's the case anymore though.
Michelle, can you circle the event coverage and ask for documentation for it? Anything else on this budget? I think what would be helpful this evening, and when you all go home, if you have additional questions to ask, EMS service, or unless you want to call them back in this afternoon, but, I think it'd be helpful to put together what numbers are important for you to see. They have combined some numbers and not everything seems to make complete sense, like where they got some numbers. With that being said, Mike seemed to have all of that, all the stats and that's information available. Michelle, there was an increase in medical supplies and medical equipment maintenance, which they did talk about. Can you also ask for documentation on those? Yes. Anything else? Great. Everyone okay to move forward?
Yep.
And consensus is the subsidy will go down to 700,000, and we will get additional information from EMS about the event coverage, medical supplies, and medical equipment maintenance. So there will be no increases in those unless there's documentation and we feel that that is sufficient. Okay, and then on page 64, this fund will be, we're going to propose that it be closed, so we can act on this in September. Next would be health, and that's on page 65.
The thing that,
Yes, I think so. And then. So. All right, now local health on page 67. Any questions on this one? I think the only increase there would be part-time nurse, public educator.
Because that's not going to be grant funded anyway, right? That's what I'm understanding.
I don't know about this one.
On the 1151 account,
1161.
168.
61.
yeah, the local health. That number, that part-time nurse you see there is going to be the full-time in the 1161, the new health, right?
Okay. I was under the impression they had to have a new nurse that was just dedicated to that.
New public health nurse.
And the liaison.
Health assistant.
I think the part-time nurse wants to be full-time.
That's what she said. Yeah, that's right.
So
will this be removed, will this line item be removed from 1168?
Probably not, but that is, and probably is. Back into.
Okay, any questions on that one? LHD trucks? Does this one collapse into the new?
Yeah, that would be gold. That's the same, yeah. They didn't spend that money in so far on. It's collapsing.
Okay. Any questions on this one? There is an increase on printing and advertising. I think that was her trying to spend the money. Yeah. Any questions on this one? Okay. Go to the next page, which is the grant request budget. Any questions on here?
I just think as the council, we're on board with this as long as we're not paying for it. Right.
That is what I gathered from everyone.
That's the way that needs to be reiterated to the department. Not that we had that discussion numerous times. It does.
And I'm getting the impression that it's pretty much funds our entire health department for the duration of the grant.
Not necessarily, we still have to maintain a certain amount that we provide locally, and then it does pick up a lot more than that.
It's like 70%.
It might be on numbers. If the budget goes that much higher than this. So this year, they're expecting to get 306,000, or this coming year, and then 2025, 612,000. One thing I think would be important, since this is an infusion of money into county government, and like what we've watched with EMS over the last 2 years, when we've had infusion of money, it's important to stay close to that, watch how it's transpiring, and making sure this is the right fit for them. So I would encourage all of us to have ongoing and active conversations with the health department as this rolls out, to see how it's working for them, and that we are abreast of any sort of means as the budget will double the next year. So we need to understand what they want to spend that on a little bit earlier in the process.
And they're okay with their work space.
Yes, they remain, they're working.
We're not making them, we're not having to build or add or add more office space somewhere else.
All right, Mark. Any questions on this budget? All right, we worked our way through.
I do want to go back to the coroner's office. Before we go to, before I forget to say it, I have to leave it pretty clear. The comment was made, Karen, you said the comment was made that there wasn't any. Repeat what you said about the,
They will not this has been discussed, from what I'm understanding, 3 years now in a row at a corner conference, that you cannot, without a complete medical history or an autopsy being done to back it up, you can't assume based on somebody saying, hey, this person had a history of heart disease. You can't take somebody's word for it and say, hey, they died of sudden cardiac arrest or anything like that anymore. Apparently, from what I was told by some people like volunteer firefighters who go up there and attend it, and some other paramedics and EMTs that have attended in the past, that I guess the last 2 or 3 years, they have made it known to everybody that they have to have an autopsy and something that will back up that person's cause of death. So they can't get around just saying, oh, well, they have this so-called history of heart disease, so we're going to assume it's a sudden cardiac death and just go with it. So they are putting the liability back on the coroner's offices and the counties if they sign off on it and there's no medical history to back it up and there's no autopsy done otherwise if it's not in the history.
According to Lisa Barker, is the liaison for the coroner's office. She is the number one person to go to. I think in the past, local coroners, if you ever haven't really relied on her expertise, and I did it very heavily for 8 years. But I called Lisa just a little bit ago when she said there's not been any law changes since I was in office.
Yeah, they're pushing it at coroner conference. They did.
She's the one that's on the coroner's office. Lisa Barker, she's the one, is the head liaison of the coroner's office in the state of Indiana. If you call any coroner in the state and tell them anything about anything, if they don't know that, they're gonna call Lisa Barker, because she's the one that is in charge. She's the one that basically runs the Coroners Association.
Well, somewhere there's supposedly an email out from them stating they have to do that.
I might have to see that because
I can,
I'm just saying that I would straighten the
get a
source.
copy of it. But they're saying that you can't do that.
Lisa Barker said it's 100% up to the county coroner to either deny or request the autopsy on any and all information that they receive.
So, but I know that's what they did the last couple of years.
I know in the past, to me, it just seems like there's been a lot of autopsies done on cases that were natural deaths. And I've always been under the impression when I was the coroner that a natural death is a natural death. I know you always want to do your due diligence, make sure nobody killed that person. But that, you know, you look at your budget for the year, how many autopsies you do. You know, right now, I think we've got a schedule where they do like 23 autopsies, and that's a lot of autopsies for a rural community.
I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. It's how many, I mean, like you're a funeral director, how many calls have you had this past year versus pre-COVID? Have they went up
I
considerably?
mean, we've had our busiest year that we've ever had.
Yeah. So I mean, is that related though? I guess that would be my question.
Well,
Because if you have to double the number of deaths going into a funeral home, one would assume you would probably end up doubling your number of autopsies.
right, but I'm just saying that the laws have not changed according to Lisa Barker, that is strictly, it's still 100% up to the county coroner to make that decision if there's an autopsy or not. There's not a state mandate that states that if there's no medical records, that they have to do an autopsy.
But there is something with the state board of health that they will come back on the coroner's office.
The state board of health can always order an autopsy, but the state board of health doesn't.
But they do come back on you for that. I do know that.
Get back on you.
They come back on the county coroners if they don't do it. Because that happened over in one of our neighboring counties not long ago.
Which, do you know what county was that?
I don't remember which one, but somebody was telling me about it. I want to say it's in Jackson County.
One of the deputy coroners over in Jackson.
I could be wrong, but I know that they do put a mandate on that, like you have to know what that cause of death is.
Well, according to Lisa Barker, she said that there is no mandate to the point. 100% up to the elected official. They're the ones that makes that decision when they say an autopsy or not.
Okay, I think that's helpful, and then we can also just keep an eye on that over the next couple of years, watch that line item. And also with the new coroner, have conversations and, you know, up to date and speed on all the state regulations, make sure that we are being mindful of that.
But I said that whenever she asked to have more money in the autopsy budget, I said, well, technically, if she orders the autopsy, we have to pay. So that's the thing with that, if she orders it, we have to pay.
I think it'll be a great resource to the two right now, whoever ends up processing in for that position. Okay. I have been notified Brandon's on his way, so let's just take a break till he gets here, and then we can reconvene and go through the sheriff's budget.
No, just, it's a new toy. It's starting to, it's not really, well, it's not- I'm, but it's not really charging that much. That's okay, the phone's up. So, that's it. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, it's not charging as fast as I thought it would, but I'm gonna take it home and charge it, and then overnight it'll be fine. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It actually charged the phone faster. You see, if it's in.
Country one.
It's.
I hit it.
No, if it doesn't charge that much, we're good off the phone, so I'm fine. And this plug, it may not be, my plug, this right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have three questions. It's about pay rate. Then.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. I mean, it's not really user friendly. It holds it, it's like 25%, does that make sense? So does that? Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. Oh, you're fine. No, you're fine. I mean, if it charges, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll have it like on overnight. It'll be just fine. But no, I didn't have enough cord to reach it. Oh, yeah, well, I don't think we have some, yeah, or. Oh, well, you know, I've had bad luck here lately. I mean, like really bad luck.
Break.
So, I mean,
They'll see that one.
tremendous. So if it catches on fire, it's probably me. I'm just saying. That's how it works. Did you tighten up again?
Yeah.
Probably everything, but yeah, it's back.
Just ergonomic.
I'm pregnant. Don't your back hurt when you're pregnant?
Yes.
See-
If I sit in a certain position for a little slow.
What's this? I'm pregnant.
Literally, if I'm like laying back, if I'm laying my back is very nice. So I have to like sit with my legs symmetrical and lean forward.
This week,
Really.
let me get started.
Does it help when you're moving? Sometimes I find if I'm moving, it's like warm. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't get tight.
I put ice on Tuesday.
Okay. Do you ever go to a chiropractor?
Yes, last time I went, I said I can go up. I used to go all the time. But, I would be, my skeleton system makes it good. That's what you feel about.
You went to the chiropractor?
You know. Last time I went back, I got that board.
And one clock?
Blood clot? Where did that come from?
Well, I'm just, I don't know.
Healing.
Same.
yeah, this is his Friday. He works Sunday through Wednesday. And, yes, he's a lot sturdier than I am. And I whine a lot more than he does, right? Man just works all the time. I mean, just, yeah, and I'm good with that. You go out, get me something done here. Got to keep me in the style I'm accustomed. I really just work eight weeks out of the year now. So, when I work, I whine about it and he just doesn't pay any attention. Yeah, November and December. And, because that's just the best time of the year, it's going to be in the same spot. The best time to visit, which is, November. It's the month of sadness because we make maybe 20% of the whole take in November. So I'm just sit there and I'm sad, and that's you don't have to buy anything. No one does. So you can actually come in and say something and I won't hurt you. I won't make you buy anything. You can touch stuff and, smell stuff. Sorry. Smell stuff.
Ready?
Alright, Rick? You ready? Alright, so we got.
Oh, I'll talk to you after.
Okay. Okay, Brent. So we have a couple questions to work through with you, and then, we've had an opportunity to go through your budget, kind of give you an update on some of the increases that we feel like you've provided documentation for, and then, if there's any adjustments in those line items that we can provide. Okay. First three questions are related to the three officers that we added and for the 2021 budget. So initially, when the mayor board presented those positions, those salaries were supposed to remain the same. So the one who hired somebody else in, they hired in at that lower amount. And then over time, if they remained in that position, they would get a salary increase. So it was brought to my attention that we have actually just increased that rate of pay every year. And so we wanted to check in with you to see when you bring in a new officer, are you bringing them in at the 44,980, which is what we approved, or are you bringing them in at 52? Or I guess it would be 48.
According to the budget that I turned in, I submitted, I used the figures that was on the adopted budget on here. And I used those figures at, the 48,647, that's what was on the budget that was presented to me. The figures for last year, so that's what I used.
So when you hire somebody in, are they going in at that original amount that we had agreed upon? Or are they going in at the based on the salary increases that we applied to those figures?
Well, I thought we agreed on what you talked about, I have to look back there to see what that was, but I don't know what the auditor's office put in there, these auditors when they put it in. I don't know that when I submitted any paperwork that I did the salary of those auditors when they were turned in. When the job offer is signed and turned in, I don't know that I put anything on that. That was put in there by the auditor's office, and like I said, I just used those numbers. Yes, you were correct. There was an agreement made in 2021 that remained, whatever that was. I have to look back to the agreement to see what that was. But then,
Yeah, it's 44,980.
say that again.
44,980.
Okay. But then they get every raise after that everybody else gets.
As long as they're an employee as opposed to the position.
Yes, I mean, like I said, if they hired this year, then you guys give for example, you gave a 3% raise next year, then yes, they get that raise, and then
Yes.
moving forward, they get a raise.
Yes. So, auditor's office, do you know for sure if they've gone, if it was at the 44,000 or if we put them in at just what we had? What we had. So for the new employees moving forward that get added to the officers, let's make sure between the auditor's office and the sheriff's department that it's at 44,980. they remain employed, they're eligible to get the salary increases just like everyone else.
Correct.
That sounds good to everyone?
I have a question.
Yeah,
So, are we going to bump them up to what's on our adopted budget, or are we just gonna do the 3% raises every year after? But if they stay a certain amount of time, are they gonna get bumped up to the, let's say, the 8
so I think inevitably we are going to have people that will meet that number, because they'll have been here long enough to meet that number.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say they're gonna get,
They're gonna leave.
they're gonna leave before that, because 44 and 48 is the next.
Well, that's what the merit board had.
I mean, I realize that, I'm just saying that at some point, we're gonna have to get them to a competitive wage, because that's what he fought for 2 years.
Yeah, well, and again, you see that the state police started their salary, their starting salary now $70,000 a year with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. And I sent you something several months back, sent everybody a text message about the, Bloomington Police Department. They're starting their salary at $68,000, to start with I think a $5,000 sign-on bonus. And if you live in the city of Bloomington, you get like $750 a month rental assistance. If you live in the city of Bloomington, you buy a house, they give you $18,000 down payment to pay on the house. And I know we can't compete with that. I get that, but it's just things that are out there that you're going to talk about. You're right. And I had something else to put in that packet to pass around to you, but I didn't. I didn't want to fill with a bunch of stuff that you may or may not read, and it's something in there talking about. I may have made a comment about it yesterday, I don't recall now, but it's taken on an average of 18 months to get an officer hired, get them on the road, get them through the academy, get ready to go, and at an expense of $100,000. To have the kid leave and go somewhere else or do something different. And so it's just something to keep in the back of our mind, that we're dealing with. Like I said, I know that there are a lot of police agencies across the state of Indiana that are not happy about what the state police have done. That's going to make it very difficult for small agencies like ours to be able to retain people in the same way with the city police. I know I talk with Chief Mills a lot, and he has the same exact problems that we have keeping people. I know he's got a couple of them that just recently went through the academy, and they are applying for that state police job. He's got one that's applied for the job in Orange County up there, or at the Bloomington Police Department. And so we got to find ways to try to keep these people that are staying for the job and not necessarily for the money. But it seems to be so many of these people are taking that job for the money, and once they get that meal ticket, there they go. And I'm not sure what the answer is beyond really how we are going to try to keep these people.
It's the way I remember. I thought the government pays 44,980. After they go through the academy, past the academy, they were employee of the county. Of course, they are an employee of the county on the department, but they're locked in with the academy. Then they would bump up to whatever. The pay is.
I don't think it was going to go from 44 to 48.
Well, you're not gonna have 4 or 5 officers today if you want.
So
I think you're right, though, I think that is how,
That's what I understood.
I think you said that.
I believe I recall that business. I think it's.
Yeah, now that he said that, I think he's right.
If you got to get this academy there, you don't, you stay right there, or right, what are you asking about? That makes sense.
Because that's like the sign-on bonus too, you guys were good enough to give us a sign-on bonus, and yes, we have used that twice, in our hiring here recently, and both officers that we did, give a sign-on bonus to, I made them wait a year after their employment to get that sign-on bonus, so they wanted to get hired, and simply go somewhere else and take that bonus, and it's bounced, because there are officers out there that do that, it's bounced from department to department. And that's a good thing too. We currently have a hiring process going on right now. We have one candidate that is in the pool that is currently a police officer, so we might have an opportunity of using that again. And that is something that's in the budget. There's enough money there for 3 people. If we hire 3, the chances of us hiring 3 people, that would all three be former police officers is probably not that great. And so that could probably be trimmed up a little bit, but I would at least leave enough in there for one person, if we did hire one person, you know, and then if we have to, if we're fortunate enough to hire somebody else that is a police officer, someone else, we could ask for an additional appropriation or something in order to cover that. But, I do think that that's important, again, to try to keep up with other people and things, to try to be incentive, to try to get people from other departments to come here. It's just very difficult when you've got so many other police agencies now that are paying what they're paying for officers. So it's,
So you are waiting a year until they get their sign up.
yes,
That answers that question, which is what we were asking.
yes. I called the clerk's office on the year anniversary and said they've entered the year, go ahead and release that $1,500 sign-on bonus.
And then we also have a question about contracts. Do you have the officer set contracts? Do you know if we're going to be enlisting them going to the academy? Do they have to stay for however many days, a year, months?
That would probably be a good question for the county attorney. We currently do not have a contract with our officers. I would love to have a contract with officers to try to get them to stay for at least a couple of years, to try to get a chance to recoup some of our money. And then since we've invested in them, we've given them their meal ticket to go somewhere else. I will say that my legal deputy that I use through the Indiana Sheriff's Association has told me that if push comes to shove, I could not enforce that. So that's the only reason that I haven't pursued that. Trust me, I've already thought about that. And I'd like to do that. I just don't know if push comes to shove, if we can actually make them honor that contract or not.
We want to do a little bit more digging on that one and perhaps work in conjunction with the county.
Yes, absolutely.
And might consider as well, the sign-on bonus is 15. What about the other 500 and 1,000? 500 for the first year, they get the 1,000 at the second year.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
We don't get it, then it's
It would kind of keep them on the hook for a little bit longer, possibly, yes.
maybe, and if not, $2,000.
That's the line. I think.
Something to think about.
Yes.
Because I had a conversation with the state representative that said that the state does that with their employees, they have to sign contracts. So there's no reason why a county can't have them sign, get people sign contracts. We've been told for years, I've been told for years, why you can't do that, you can't do that. Well,
I would be all in favor of that. If the attorney said that we could do that, I would be all in favor of the contract. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that would be helpful. Okay, just quickly back to the officer. We're calling a conversation with Jason White this year. That the reason why we had it set up that way was that we were going to have a little bit of distance. People who are just hired on versus people who have been here for a while. If what some of the council members have talked about, if we do propose that they come in at 44,980, complete the academy, and then would be eligible for the existing pay rate where everyone else is, does that create enough of a gap between your existing staff and them?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Because I would have thought that would happen, but you'd be surprised. Because again, I've got a story that I tell about over here in deputies talking in the back office one day, and there's deputies there that had 6 months over somebody else and thought they should be making more money than the person that they got 6 months over. I don't know what to do to make some of these people happy. To me, 6 months isn't enough that you should be making more money than somebody else. I understand, why that was set up originally to put separation between those people so that a new hire doesn't come on and make the same amount of money as somebody that has 5 years experience on the department, because experience is something that you can't just give somebody a 6-pack of it and they're going to get in the hat. And there should be something for that experience. I do agree with that there should be. But again, I did put a sheet in there in your packet that I gave you yesterday that listed the officers and how long they've been on the department.
Yeah.
And half of our department has less than 2 years experience. It's a very young, inexperienced department, and it's making it very difficult. And then one of the officers that we did lose here in the last 6 months took a job somewhere else, making more money, and I think he was like 6 months away from being there 13 years. And I was a little bit surprised we lost somebody there that was there that long. Again, it's everything has changed dramatically in the last 5 years, especially on the national level, and it's just becoming more and more difficult to find people that are willing to be police officers anymore. And that was another thing that I'm taking the packet was a thing that talks about just that, everybody assumes that when you call the police are gonna come. What are we gonna do when there's nobody willing to be those police officers anymore and you call them? And I said, it worries me every day that we didn't used to have the staffing problems that we have, and I know you guys get tired of hearing that, it's over and over, but it does, it's something that we have to deal with every day, and I don't always know what the answers are. And matter of fact, it's something it's a very hot topic at the sheriff conferences. We talk about this every time we get together for a sheriff conference, and everybody's having the same problem. And again, the thing that the governor did by starting the state police at $70,000, it's a great thing for them, but it really hurts small departments like ours and the city police and things. And so there's a lot of agencies across the state that's going to feel the impact from that. That's going to make it more and more difficult to keep people.
What I'd like to do, and also around, to see if we have consensus on this. What I would hate to happen is a year from now, 2 years from now, you come on the mayor board comes and I say there's not enough separation of pay from the new people to the people that have been here.
Right.
And this is something that was supposed to be addressed when we hired those new officers.
Yes.
So tell us what you're comfortable with the new officers entering in that, and then after they complete the academy, that still creates some separation between them and existing officers.
Well, and again, I thought we had a solution here that would work too, but again, there's no way to look in the future to see what's gonna happen, I don't know what kind of ripple effect is gonna happen from this state police. I mean, there's a lot of police agencies that are gonna have to follow suit and do the same thing. The city police did the same thing right after you guys gave us a raise. If you recall, the mayor was sitting during that meeting and he had to do the same thing for his police officers. He had to give them the same raise that you guys gave my police in order to keep his people. And I appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. And I still don't know what the answer is, Keely, because again, here we are 2 years later, and I'm still hiring those 3 deputies that you gave me permission to hire 3 years ago. We still haven't been able to keep anybody. We're still losing them, and we've actively got 2 more hired that haven't been to the academy yet. They were hired in January. They don't get to go till next January because of all the people trying to get into the academy right now. We're even sending these deputies to a satellite academy just to get them in. Even in January, we'll get them in. Then the 3rd officer for doing the hiring process right now. So
here's what I'll say. If we do what Karen, Preston, and Gerald have talked about, which is hiring in at 44.9 and then moving them to what is in what we've adopted at, or what's proposed if we were to give a salary increase. A year from now, 2 years from now, we don't have you come in and say we need to create a gap. This is the opportunity to have a gap. So
right.
if you think that it doesn't need to be a gap, or there doesn't need to be a gap, 2 years from now, we're not going to consider it.
I understand that. Well, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a gap there. Again, the officers think there should be a gap for 6 months. I don't think there should be a gap for 6 months, but I do think an officer that's been there 5 years should be making a little more than the guy that only came on a year ago, at the academy, with the academy and stuff. And so I do think that there should be a gap for that experience.
Here's a compromise. I'm just gonna throw this out there. So let's say they hire on this year, we start them off at the 44.9, they get through the academy, they stay with the academy. What's to say they not move up to last year's budgeted amount while everybody else is on this year's budgeted amount? And the only time it would ever not go into effect that way would be if we didn't give a raise. You still have your gap huge, so you're helping them by compensating the cost of inflation, but it's a happy compromise to give them the gap.
Right.
But you're not keeping them so low that they're stuck here, or what they feel like they're stuck there forever. Maybe we go back to 2 years ago's budget and we say, okay, now we're gonna move to this one and this is where it's gonna stay. And yeah, you might be chasing a moving target with the merit board, but at least it's a set moving target that's gonna constantly be moving. Maybe it states in the merit board's paperwork that it's the prior year's adapted budget that they move up to whatever that may be.
So at this point, we have one open officer position, is that right?
Yes,
So the other two were hired this year, and they were likely brought in at the 48.
that's my belief, yes.
They were likely brought in at the 48. So really, those two for this budget year and hopefully for next budget year, it's a new point because they're hired. But that new position, that one position you do have open, if you two can, communicate to make sure that the 44,980.
Right,
And then, I like Karen's suggestion of kind of like going back a year to see where it was. Perhaps the year after it could go to the 2022 adopted amount, which is 46,330.
And I just think that needs to be something that's in that way, there's a set number in the merit board paperwork that says, hey, they're gonna go to whatever the prior year that they fall into, that adopted budget. So it could be different for everybody, but.
So Michelle and Tyra, how do we do this for?
He's,
Go back and look at the previous year's budget and then look at the higher rate of deputy and
it's very difficult for the logistics. I mean. Well, here's the thing too, I think Aaron hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is a moving target. And as much as we'd all like to debate it, say, okay, this is it, this is what we're going to move forward here, which is we're going to have to make some decision today and move forward. But I wish that I could tell you people that we're never going to have to come back and address this again, but I honestly think that we will every couple of years. We're going to have to keep coming and addressing this just simply because of the changing world that we live in today. And you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know what's going to happen, 6 months from now, a year from now, or a year and a half from now. And unfortunately, I feel like we're probably going to constantly have to revisit this probably every couple of years. And I know that you don't want to. We talk about it before, we like to fix things and be done and move on. But I think realistically, it's something that you are going to have to address, on a regular basis, whether you want to or not. I think it's going to be part of the new norm on how we do things. And I know it's not easy to keep going through this, and everybody doesn't want to keep hearing about it every couple of budget hearings. I get that. Trust me, I would just assume I have to keep coming in here and harping on these things too every other budget hearing. But I don't know. I just know that we're having huge staffing issues. I don't know. And I've had people say you can't just keep throwing money at it too, and I agree with that too. So you can't just you don't have an unlimited pot of spending to say you've got a pot of money. This is what we got to work with. We can't just keep throwing money at things when we don't have money to do these things. But and I think that the county commissioners and you, the county council, I think you guys have been very supportive of public safety. You really helped us out in 2021 and helped us get 3 more officers on the department, which is great. I'd love to go get to a full staff so I can see what we can do with a full staff. But even since 2021, I can't get to a full staff. I still have a detective on my department that works the road every single day because I don't have enough officers to answer calls. And so I can't put my detective over here to investigate things because and the city's the same way. Russell Wilcox is their detective. He wears a uniform, works the road every day. They don't have enough guys to answer the calls. And it is what it is. We're trying to do the best we can with what we have. And so there's a lot of days I don't worry about any other government agency but mine. All I'm trying to do is keep our head above water. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, again with my budget thing. I'm just trying to keep our head above water.
So I think for these, you've given us good information on this issue. If you guys are comfortable, I'd like to move on to the next one.
I actually wanted to tell them, you mentioned the contract, you guys were talking about the contract and keeping people after they go to the academy. In the private sector, I know I used to work at a job where they paid for my schooling. And you might ask the lawyer if you can get around this legal loophole by saying that they have to, because normally in a perfect world, they pay for the academy themselves, right? Most of the time, sometimes,
No, it's
never.
a rare
Okay.
thing.
you might ask if they have to pay back a portion of it and see if you can get around your legal loophole that way. I know the private industry does that when it comes to college educations and stuff and career development. They want them to stay, and they write it up in their hiring handbook to state that. So you might check with a lawyer and see if there is a way you could work around that legal loophole that way legally. Okay.
I think further conversations with that could be helpful. Okay, on page 7, which is the detention center, I want to draw your attention, we will have a later discussion about salary increases collectively. So I want to just let you know that we have noted your 2 priority items. If there are no salaries for the staff, for the county staff, there's not going to be any change in these salaries. But that is something, if we look at the budget, we feel like there could be salary increases, we could consider those that you named priorities. So I want you to be aware of that. Page 9, which is public safety. Oh, go ahead.
And then for every year that the person is here, they get $500 plus you all get a 2% or 3% rate. You're still maintaining that gap between your people.
Similar to the longevity, the idea behind longevity at one time was to help separate those people out.
I think that as far because, you know, did you get that person when you started, you would know, we've already got a couple before the like.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever you all can work out that stays within the budget. And meets his need of making sure there is a gap. Okay, that's a great idea. Yeah. Okay, all right, public safety, yes, page 9. Brent, thank you so much for all this documentation. I think that really helps us as we're looking at considering increases. Everything that you've asked for increases, we feel like you've given us documentation to support that. One of the things we have talked about reducing the amount of is the meals for inmates from 200 to 195. But I want you to be aware of that as a discussion we had. The other items that you've asked for increases on, we'll look at that collectively when we go to the balance budget and see where we're at. But you have provided all of the additional documentation that we would be considering for those things. Council, anything else to add on those?
That's you, I'm talking to my check into making another upgrade. Yeah, okay. Okay, and just to kind of bring up a little more on radios and stuff yesterday too. Y'all probably don't know, Presley would know, I've been in police car before and stuff, but there are actually 2 police radios in the car. There is the VHF radio that we use that we talk to locally for our people here locally, and the 800 radios that I was talking to you about. That's the radios in there that you can talk to anybody in the state. You know, if we have a disaster and you got multiple police agencies there, you can talk to any other county that's got an 800 radio, state police and things. And so that's what we were talking about actually. This President brought up a good point yesterday too. He said, what about the handheld radios? Well, we're still good on handheld radios. When I have issues with those, we're not replacing those. It is the in-car 800 radios that we're having to replace. And unfortunately, just like anything else today, you know, the prices of things have gone up. Because if you go to the gas station today, gas is $4 a gallon today. So Chief Deputy Bunch today was going to send a text message out to the officers after a while, be mindful of the price change in gas and try to carpool when they can and try to reduce their personal use of their police cars and things. Be mindful of that, try to help with our fuel budget. Like I said, we are pretty good on our fuel budget as of today. If gas prices stay $4 a gallon for very long, we might not be, but I'm trying to make my guys mindful of that, you know, try to help us out when you can. So.
And you've done that over the last few years. Anytime there has been a spike, it seems like you've been communicating with officers and recently.
Yes,
The only other, item I have to discuss with you is Michelle has, the auditor's office has received the deposit for the county correctional fund, which typically we have had up to 35,000, but the last couple of years it's been 30,000. We just received a deposit and it's 17,441, and it's typically a one-time deposit each year, not set by the state. So, I want you to be aware that what we thought was 30,000 is 17,400.
Now, say that again. So when you thought it was 30,000, it's not 30,000.
It's not 30,000 as of this year,
In $17,441.
4908.
It's fund county correctional, right?
Motor vehicle, but
Yeah, motor vehicle.
receive.
So here we go. They cut it.
It's going to be a problem, because again, like I said, this resolution that I was going to present to you to allow me to be a little more leeway in my commissary spending and things like that. Here you go again, now you're taking another $20-something thousand out of my commissary that I didn't know I was going to have to spend on. So, to be able to offer some cushion to my budget, and again, that's not part of the budget I don't understand. I guess I'm going to have to get, an education on this. I call around talking to other sheriffs, and they do it differently in most of the counties. It's different about everywhere, but everybody else gets a whole lot more money to buy police cars than I do. I'm not sure why I understand what it is. I do know that most sheriffs use a commissary fund to buy police vehicles and stuff with I do, but again, I don't know how the county expects us to have working cars that we can drive around when we don't have that kind of money to put in there to buy. Like I said, 30,000 wouldn't even buy a police car. And now 17,000, that's just barely gonna, I won't even fit 2 police cars, but don't buy one, so.
Well, in all fairness,
It's wild.
correct.
Yeah, what did I say was
This is, yeah,
Department of Correction.
it's county misdemeanor.
Yes. Yes,
It's usually 30,000
yes, we get checks up there for 30,000.
and 17.
So what do we spend the other 110,000 on that comes from the Department of Corrections for whole level 6 felons?
It goes in, it's all.
Yeah, I know that. I know that it goes into the general fund. I'm just saying, that money again is generated by the jail for holding level 6 felons. People have been sentenced to level 6 instead of going to prison. They give us that money every year that goes into the general fund. It could be used to help offset some of this.
$1 million sheriff and pension and salary. I think, and don't quote me on this, and I need to do some looking, but I think the public safety fund would handle. He's already got equipment for 20,000. I think he would put that in there for cars last year.
It is for, it's for vehicles and for computers at the sheriff's department, because actually, Bill told me I should have a line item separate just for the computers at the sheriff's department. We have so many computers, but we've been using it for both. And that's why, again, I can't say I can't replace everything at the jail at once, or I can't replace all the cars at once. We're trying to replace 4 at a time.
Public safety fund would comfortably handle the difference. Yes.
Maybe 13,000.
Even if you put, even if you put 30 in that line, that's still, that gives him a little more buffer, yeah.
Are you talking about 30 in equipment?
Yeah, I think you put it in equipment and I could get, and we could split that out if you wanted different line items.
And then maybe the two of you could talk about how that number is calculated, and Brent, you can call some of the other sheriffs and see if they're also having a reduction in that check.
That's, I made a note to do that.
I don't know.
Is that real?
Yes. Well, that's what I'm trying to understand it, and it's not been easy, because when I did call around in surrounding counties and talk to the sheriffs, it's different in every county. The Jackson County operates off bonds, and, you know, Scott County does something different than what Jackson does, and Orange County did something different. Okay, I'm trying to get a grasp on it, because I knew that at one time it was 35 and then went to 30. I'm just trying to figure out how we can help with that.
Yeah, if you find an answer, please let us, let Michelle know too. Okay, so in regards to the line item for equipment, what was that being, what did you propose increasing it to, 30? The whole line item.
But 41,
40109.
That was probably an additional after the first year, because we did advertise 1,983,000.
Taking it to 50. Okay, so everyone have that updated? All right, Brent, I think I had a number from you with, you said $50,000 a year was costs to be able to lease the four vehicles.
That's correct.
Trying to use the 30 and then pulling the rest from.
Siri, that's correct.
So hopefully that'll. Okay. Anything else, council? Commissioners? I know it's tough. We're budgeting for the sheriff's department. It's very challenging, and it's a large department with a lot of needs and always ongoing. So I know it's a tough position to be in. We're really tight budget season, so we're trying to do our best to meet the needs of everyone. And thank you for putting together all of this. This is really helpful, especially with the line item increases. It provides actual numbers for us to be like, yes, this is what is needed. So we really appreciate you taking the time. Anything?
Thank you for your time. Appreciate the questions and things that you said. And again, if you're sitting down and you have some further questions, if you read through it, I'll be glad to answer anybody's questions that they have as far as to how I come up with what numbers we did and things. Because again, when I put this proposal together, I had a thought process, and then here recently when I'm going through it and actually making notes and things, some of these things change. I'm looking at some figures. Okay, maybe we didn't. Maybe we're not where we need to be. Maybe we could trim some out of this, you know, depending on what happens, or maybe I cut us a little short here. So we'll kind of see with some things. And again, next year's I did, there was several line items I did actually cut some money back out. And
You did, it seemed like this year you were just very intentional in looking at what was actually necessary to increase the budget. Seems like you were.
my hopes are, again, like I said, that next month's meeting be on the agenda to discuss this resolution, to see again about maybe providing a little more cushion on some of these line items by being able to spend money out of commissary. It's not a never-ending bank account, but again, you know, there are some things there that I know that we can help out with on the budget to maybe trim some things up to try to continue to trim a little bit in some areas.
I don't think you'll have a problem with that, but any council members that have questions between now and September can reach out to you.
Absolutely, appreciate that.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Okay, so we have worked through all of the callbacks aside from EMS, which will come in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Dave? Me too. Is everyone okay with 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Can you make that work? 10 a.m. tomorrow? Okay. Okay. Anything else that we, I guess, kind of next steps? We went through all of the budgets. Michelle has highlighted anyone that's asked for an additional, if anyone has asked for an increase in their line items to get documentation from them. So, I'm okay with that. You know, calculating the budget to see where we're at with those additional increases, but I also think we need to know what that number is without adding like those specific line items on it. We also need to have a conversation about salary increases, and that's something we feel like we can do, and I think that's really gonna be dependent on what those numbers shake out as, and Michelle, it's something that, you know, wait till tomorrow to be able to have that information.
Yes.
And we can do that before any minutes.
It's gonna be tomorrow.
Got that, that's coffee?
I mean, just look at it, I mean, all your income, percent as is, was only what, 300,000 above?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I can tell you. You still, everybody, if we assume everybody's gonna spend, everybody's 100%, and there's gonna be nothing left over.
Last year, I believe we talked about a 3% raise, 3 or 5% raise, didn't, Michelle, wasn't that anywhere between 900 and 1.5 million? The raises alone. So I think that's a really good number for us to look at, that we can either be over by $300,000 from last year, or we're gonna be over potentially almost 2 million last year with salary increase.
I could snort to relieve the tension. Do you need that?
Yeah.
Do you, you know, I'm here for you. Well, no, not really, but I mean, we could pretend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can do it spontaneously. I almost need to, you know, you always need to say something so outrageous. I go, "Ah," you know, and that's the inhale thing.
Hey, God, you're really. Yeah.
That's what I look at, it's almost like a, it's hard to turn employees. Raises. It's hard to get raises.
Only gonna have last year.
I think that's the, but that's what's talking about, that's just across the board.
I wanna know, like, how much long, like, what's the length of time we gotta hold this line to be able to have an increase again for salaries? That would be, and it, 2 million is a lot, but 1.9 million, a lot.
All you have to do is look at the.
You know, it's an uncomfortable position to be in, and it certainly isn't an ideal situation. But we can't keep doing what we've done. We've done salary increases every single year. We've answered everybody's request for more money. And this is, to continue on that path of being not being good stewards of tax money.
Never had a job, it'll be my life. I got a raise every year. Never. I'm an old man, older than anybody here. So it's not the end of the world. If you don't get up right.
But I think it's all assumptions. We aren't assuming every part. We are assuming we're going to receive all of the revenue that's due to us. There's just a lot of assumptions, but based on the assumptions as it stands right now, that was intercommunicated. There's a $1.9 million here into, he used the word surplus, but our operating. Our push to support this budget.
How much is the cushion?
Depends on what year it is.
So we realistically can't.
So, you know, if you adopt.
Correct. Just what we can see more of that.
We're already $2 million. Almost $2 million.
Assumption.
Well, I will say, we did go through when we were trying to cut things out of the budget, some of those items that were a little larger that would normally go back into the general, we reduced quite a bit. So what would normally go back into the general from maybe some insurance or FICA or whatever, some of those things are more realistic amounts now in the budget, and they're not the extras.
In the last year, we voted almost $1 million back into the general unspent funds, but a lot of that is the sheriff's department, his turnover. When he's not able to replace the position for 5 months, you're not paying out all that. Yeah, and that's where that. Like that.
That's the nice thing about a budget. Figure high, ask for public for some need. And at the end of the year, you do have some unexpended funds, but you don't know till the end of the year.
I don't know what's here.
So you cancel people earn their money today, tomorrow, tonight. And that's why you make the big bucks.
You know, I think it's something to note that we've spent, since I've been on the council every year, there have been raises every single year, good raises. I mean, minimum of 3%, and typically, I think,
5% things that.
well, I think it was more than just 1 year, we did 5%. And, you know, when people have had budgetary requests to increase their budget, we haven't asked for additional documentation. We just trusted everybody and said, okay. And so we've let this budget has grown and grown. And salaries are an ongoing obligation, ongoing increase. And this is the very tight budget season. Any thoughts from council members?
So being new to this, how, what do you do to protect the taxpayers? What do you do here to protect police?
Or
That's a
somewhere,
good question, Mr. Walker.
somewhere in the middle. That's what you try to find.
So, Michelle, based off of last year's assumption of what you feel like we're going to see for this year, how do those two?
Is we receive back or your lit money? How much extra can I anticipate
Yes.
revenues coming? Yeah, let's know it tomorrow. Because the NLCF is supposed to be releasing those lit figures. Supposed to be, yes.
That would be colorful.
Don't think it's gonna be $2 million. I don't think it's gonna be $2 million.
No, I'm sure it's not me.
And that's the point, how hard do we course correct?
That's.
Do we take a hard left or do we take a soft left or? Yeah.
Yeah. Even offering raises to be your fault. Pretty,
Will said, I will echo. Here. Said before. In the private sector, certain aspects of it, there are years where you don't give. I know that's not favorable, but sometimes that's just a hard truth. Reality. But it would be nice to see that there need to go up. To know what we are expecting. I didn't get raised. I worked over there for 2 years. But I worked on this in years. You know, once the hourly rate hit $82, we set on a flat rate of 24 there for 10 years. The rate kept raising. No more on flat rate. So if you want to raise, you have to figure out a way to turn around.
Yeah. I'll throw this out there, it's what Mr. Stuff. I think next year's tough.
I agree. I think we'll be safe.
But yeah, I think we're just now getting the run of the storm.
Well, the state has keep rolling stuff in the counties. I mean, it's nothing to get probation officers or
It's not there.
public defender or anything like that. But look at the ratings they gave.
Yeah.
Those that you have to have.
If we just got the thing.
Yep.
What if we say to the end, doesn't
I'll get you those numbers called, Tom.
yeah, $13,000 raise on salary. Getting close to 200,000.
And two of them were subsidizing $5,000.
Well, we know where that's going now.
That's it.
One here, one man.
Well, I think, well, I think almost 8% of the main times we need to stay up there. Representatives, to see if the push for them to help rural communities. We cannot keep doing it. There is the option of looking at raising taxes. That's less.
So, you know, everybody on the council, we're committed to making it work within the confines of the existing.
That's what I'm gonna.
That's what the state is pushing down, Steve. I guarantee you talk to
Yeah.
the state, they're gonna go, well, have you, it pays real tax.
Yep.
Have you raised your income tax?
Is your lit tax at 2.5%? They'll ask you all those questions if you haven't done it.
Be good to have a circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Get that money to, how many millions of dollars for a walking trail?
We need that.
Yeah, we need that.
Probably go to recess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it gets bad.
Yeah. Well, I thank you all for sitting through these budget periods and just listening to the department heads who are all doing good work. And I did see some intentionality behind budgets this year that we maybe haven't seen in a few years. They were much more intentional about their ask and they cut where they could. So I'm really grateful for the department heads who took that extra time to do that. With that being said, I think when you said it's time to come back in the morning, we will be meeting with EMS at 10. It might be helpful to come back a little earlier than that if there's any lingering conversations that need to take place. Michelle, what are your thoughts on that timing that we should be back in the morning? 9. People detective. All right, with that, we have recess and we will reconvene tomorrow at 9 a.m.
9 o'clock. I get to sleep in again.